Victor. Oh, this could be an opening. The man didn't want to have the opening. It's Lawrence Shackleton. That is the moment of matters.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Hearts on Sleeves podcast. It is a podcast all about Heart of Midlothian Football Club, its fans, and the ups and downs we experience on the way, both on and off the pitch. Just the one presenter joining me today. It is Trunter. How are you doing today, Trunter?
Knackered. Really good. How are you doing, man?
Yep, knackered emotionally, physically, and every other possible way after that weekend. Now, joining us today, we've got a couple of guests, and I have to say one thing we love just as much as talking about Hearts is talking to fellow jambos and hearing their stories. And our guests today have a story several years in the making and culminated in them making the 3,700-mile journey from Indianapolis to see Hearts for the first time in their game against Rangers at Tynecastle on Monday. I think it's safe to say I'll never complain about my 22-minute train journey through from Falkirk to see Hearts ever again. Welcome to the show, Matt and Tammy.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, thanks, guys.
That is one heck of a journey Tammy and Matt have made with their daughter. Do you want to sort of tell us, first of all, how you originally started following the Jambos then?
So I as a kid growing up in Indiana playing junior soccer, we would get stats every once in a while from the Euro leagues and, always would have the Scottish tables. And, I think back then the differentiation between the leagues wasn't as, it wasn't as broad. It seemed like Scottish guys played in Scotland, English guys played in England, Spanish guys played in Spain. And so it wasn't, I don't know, as commercialized. So we didn't really, to us, they were all just faraway leagues that you might see highlights once a week on. And so there wasn't a lot of time to see it, maybe a highlight show here and there on some kind of soccer summary show. But, always knew about the Hearts and the Scottish League. And then, once cable and satellite TV came around in the early 2000s, would get occasional games depending on the telecast. I think the Scottish League was a little bit harder to get as everything else was coming around. But would watch, if I stumbled across a telecast here and there. And then really started following them a little bit more after our daughter was born. And we had her playing, we were in Dallas, Texas at the time. She was playing, junior soccer on Saturday mornings, which a lot of times meant a 8 a.m. game. And so when I'd go to get her up and kind of get her into the soccer mood as far as which direction she needs to be going and that kind of stuff, I would try to find a game. And, one of our satellite, I think it was a fiber optic, AT&T UVerse is what it was called. And I can't remember whether it was a Fox channel or a BN TV. I don't know who it was at the time. And this was in the early 2010s that would have Scottish League. And, randomly we'd pick up and we'd watch Hearts play or whatever game was kind of featured that particular weekend. And as a little girl, she would always ask me or be disappointed if I turned it on and Hearts wasn't playing that week. Mm-hmm. So that kind of became the team that we would look for on those Saturday mornings and watch when we could. The telecast went away from that. I'm not sure. There was a couple of years where it was really hard to find something. But things picked up the last 2 or 3 years. She's playing the highest level competitive soccer in the ECNL here in the States. Very successful high school player as well. And then it's CBS Sports and really Paramount, the streaming channels started showing a lot more games. And it seems like, and especially this year, as Hearts are featured more, became easier to find the games, especially live. Even the rights to find some of the tape telecasts are difficult for whatever reason in the States. But we found ourselves trying to track down every game, making notes of when they would be on, try to stream them live from the house. And as the season wore on, it obviously turned into something that could be a memorable year for the team. So we kind of at the split when we saw the final 5 games and looked at her soccer schedule and our schedules here locally. Looked like there was a Monday night when we could make a move, so we decided to do it.
Now, you mentioned the coverage America has of Scottish football. Obviously, it's, as you said, been an absolute huge season for Hearts. Has there been sort of any coverage about the success of Hearts in USA at all that you've noticed?
There's not a lot on, any of the, I guess the regular shows we would see. I mean, we get the premiership on NBC and USA Network. Other than that, the Champions League is featured a lot, so you see a lot of highlights there. Even the local soccer coaches that my daughter has, a lot of them that really dedicate a lot of time to watching the games. They hear about us watching Hearts in the Scottish League, and they chuckled at first. But I think Monday's game, there may have been 10 to 15 other viewers here locally, just from people that we've talked into kind of following the Hearts season this year. But yeah, as far as general on any sports channel, you rarely, occasionally you'll see some MLS stuff on ESPN. The national teams, obviously with the World Cup coming up, you'll see a lot more promo of that. But yeah, the Scottish League, it's pretty obscure unless you know what you're looking for. So, like I said, the CBS Sports Channel it's kind of the second. CBS is a major network. The Sports Channel is like a secondary network that has the coverage, and then again, like I said, Paramount Streaming has a lot more of the game. So you really just have to rely on that, and then social media. You follow the various sites that you guys have on Facebook or Instagram. You have to learn, even reading the articles, the way that you guys describe certain events, or the opponent's fans. Sometimes we'll have to look up, okay, what does that mean? What okay, that was a bad event for their side. Does that mean it was a bad event for their team? What does that mean? So we need some translation here or there, but yeah, really it's just kind of social media, and then figuring out when we can watch them on CBS and Paramount.
Well, hopefully with the Champions League next season will be a lot easier to find on the television,
Exactly.
especially for
Yeah.
your fan club that you're slowly growing, and hopefully it'll take over the whole state eventually.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. So do tell me then, this is a surprise that you planned for your daughter. Can you tell me about how she found out she's visiting Edinburgh, and of course, Tynecastle for the first time? And yeah, just talk us through her reaction and everything.
Yeah, I think, like when she had a game and we had to pull her early with 10 minutes to go, and her coach basically told her that she needed to grab her bag and find her parents, and she ran to the car. When she got in the car, she's sweating. She got us a goal in to secure a spot for playoffs, and could not figure out why she was being taken out, and kind of thought something else may have happened. But, we got her in the car, and as she's sweating and trying to cool down, Dad just said, we're going to the airport, we're going to Edinburgh. And she just kind of looked at us, not sure what to think and wasn't sure what was happening. And then kind of gained some focus and was just like, are we going to see Hearts play? She just, she figured it out. And then she was just stunned from that moment on.
Yeah, her game actually Sunday was a critical game. It was the second to last. We've got our derby game Saturday against the other Indianapolis team, and some earlier games, our game got pushed back by 50 minutes. So our window to get to our flight to Philadelphia, we had enough time for her to play the complete game, but with our game starting late, it made it very tight. In addition, I saw some of the other scores from our conference come in, and it turned out that if we just secured a half or a draw, we got the 1 point we needed to qualify to go to St. Louis for regionals in June for our team. And Maddie, our daughter, dramatically hits a banger in with about 20 minutes to go from the left side to even the score. Coach pulls her like 3 minutes later, tells her that we've got to run. And like I said, she had no idea. She's thinking maybe there was a family illness or something dramatic. You know, at that point, seeing how panicked she was, I had to tell her, hey, we're going over to Edinburgh. And she, quickly figured out what we were doing. She had actually a couple of years ago proposed a trip to Edinburgh for us. It was a chance for us to go over and see Tynecastle, and it was in June. So I don't know if she had researched whether there were any matches or games or anything, but she said, "Dad, we can go see Tynecastle. We could go see where Hearts play." And Mom said, "There's this golf course that you might want to check out called St. Anderson or something, and maybe while you're playing golf, me and Mom could go see Taylor Swift at Murrayfield." And I was listening to her plan,
Mm.
thinking it was sounding good until I heard the rider at the end that was really the crux of her planned trip, the Taylor Swift show at Murrayfield. So, she started asking us questions about where we were staying, and I said, "Well, actually, we're staying right by Murrayfield. So not only can you see, we'll get to see Tynecastle, but you can also see where Taylor Swift played 2 years ago." So, yeah, she calmed down. She was excited. It was tough because we really needed all of us to sleep a little bit on the overnight flight, and it was just tough, knowing that okay, we're going to land, try to check into the hotel, maybe go downtown and check out some sights, and then try to get over uh, to the stadium, 3-4 hours beforehand to kind of check out the scene, which is what we did.
How was the journey like on your way down? Because I'd imagine that football game that she was playing, the emotions must have been running high. Combining that with potentially freaking her out about what's actually going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Um,
it was
I
fun.
mean,
It was actually very easy. We were surprised. We got on the flight here, connected through Philadelphia, had about an hour and a half there, and then, you know, got here early and had this beautiful weather we weren't expecting, and it was just so easy.
Actually, our cabbie turned it out to be a Heart supporter as well. So we
nice,
just talked about the game the whole way in.
it's brilliant. What did you think of Edinburgh itself when you actually got here? Did you get much of a chance to have a bit of a walk around and take in some of the sights?
Oh yeah, I thought it was so charming. We got to the hotel. They weren't ready, so we just kind of strolled down the street to check out the neighborhood there, and then went back and had some breakfast to see if the room might be ready, and it wasn't. And then we got on one of the buses and headed down to Old Town, and just seeing the sights to Victoria Street. We stopped in a pub for a little rest. We went to get some cookies. We kind of did a little bit of a lot, and enjoyed all of it. I can't wait to get back because we didn't have enough time to do all of it.
Yeah,
We'll take you to Wings when you come back.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just the landscape downtown with whether it's the Gothic churches, the castle up on the hill, just the I guess it was really just kind of the border of the rail yard going underneath it, but the kind of the park setting there, and then climbing up into Old Town and around the streets and shops, and obviously on Monday, with it being a holiday, there was probably a little bit more active. A lot of tourists, I think, other than us. Um, and it was funny because our daughter was wearing a Tynecastle sweatshirt, and I think other tourists and just other people that were out seeing that on her, we could hear conversation. "Oh yeah, Hearts are playing Rand." We actually heard two guys trying to search for tickets while we were sitting. I think it was Biddy Mulligan's.
Yeah, yeah.
Over in Old Town, and yeah, we heard guys at the tables over asking what time the game was, and then I think they were searching on whatever ticket brokers or contacting friends to see if they could somehow get into the game. So yeah, it was definitely a cool scene to walk around before the game. The weather was great, high 50s, low 60s with sun, some clouds to keep you cool here and there, pretty much like it was at game time. So just great afternoon for us.
Man, this is sounding like everything absolutely fell into place for you guys. It could have
Oh,
been,
exactly.
it could have been awful. It could have been a
Exactly.
terrible
I mean, we
result.
got we
Shit
got home
weather.
yesterday, and it was high 40s and pretty much just raining the whole way back from Indianapolis to Bloomington. And me and Mom were like, "Yeah, this is kind of what we had expected." And given we're kind of in the northern U.S. Midwest. Our daughter's coaches, most of them are English, and they do not call practice when it's 38 degrees and raining. They train through everything. So we were kind of expecting something like that, but it turned out to be, picture perfect, just whole trip as far as weather.
That's what it's always like here. It's always absolutely stunning, beautiful
Yeah.
water.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I come over to play golf, it will be 40 degrees and with 40-mile-an-hour winds and raining the whole time. I guarantee.
We'll be fine for the first 9 holes and then
Yes,
terrible on the way
yeah.
back.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk us through then when you first entered Tynecastle. Then, what were all the sights you're seeing, and talk us through your experience with the game itself.
Yeah, that was another really fun part. We walked from the hotel. I think we put in almost 20,000 steps that day, just getting around. And our goal was to get over to the gift shop. So we kind of we stopped at like the Roseburn bar. We were going to pop in there. She was too young, so we couldn't do that. And then we got over to the gift shop, and she was just amazed at all of the different things. And because we only had a backpack, she couldn't get everything that she wanted, obviously. But she was like, so this is where the players play. And then she had to use a restroom, and we went into the little, I guess it might be the hotel, I'm not sure, but it said players lounge. And she just kind of stood there, and in her mind, that's where the players hung out. I'm not quite sure. And then after that, we just, we walked, where did we go to? Over to the Arms, or?
Yeah, we went over to Stratford's for a bit.
Oh yeah, not well.
Uh, met a crew of guys there. We kind of, leveled into this corner area where kids were allowed. Met a gentleman named Alan Bygate and his crew, 3 other gentlemen, and they, I didn't really push into their table, but just started talking to them and shared the story, and met some of the other, I guess, regulars there beforehand, and got to hear the songs. And I think we cut out probably 45 minutes before kickoff. Went through on the gates on the west side. I can't remember what it was called. We were up. What was our
Roseburn.
And we were in the
Roseburn, it would be,
Roseburn,
yeah.
Roseburn stand. And actually, I didn't know this. We were 5 rows up, and we were right up against where they have the cutoff with the awning over the seats. So the beginning of the game was great. Hearing the songs and the pregame. It was a little bit chaotic where we were at because the Rangers fans were like right next to us. So I think they had a drum kit or something down there. I couldn't actually see, but we would get kind of both, we would hear both fans singing. And then eventually, obviously the Hearts fans would overwhelm them and kind of drown them out. So it's funny when we got back listening to the stuff on the coverages where you can hear a little bit more clearly from more of a Hearts section versus when we were down there with them beating their drums and yelling and singing their songs right next to us. But yeah, the videos we got of the beginning with the flags, with the crowd, with like the different, I'm guessing like supporter clubs in different sections of the stadium,
Yeah.
that all kind of grouped together. You could tell they were somehow organized and everything. It was just spectacular. I mean, you see the stuff on TV, and we've been in big game environments ourselves with our local teams, and yeah, just the electricity of the event, the volume, the fervor of the fans. It's just something on the telecast. I don't care how excitable the announcers are or how loud they boom the sound in. It's nothing compared to being at a live event, especially at a live event, which it sounds like was one of the biggest games in the last 40 to 50 years at the stadium. So we were honored to be a part of it, and lucky that we picked the game that we did.
I'm so glad that you got to go to such an important game, such a massive game, and see
Mm,
Tynecastle like that. I mean, it's hard to describe it. Like you say, you don't really get all that across on the telly. It's the atmosphere when you're inside there is absolutely different gravy to what you think it's going to be. It's incredible.
absolutely.
Um, did you have a pie from the concession stand at halftime or anything?
I did.
Yeah.
I did the beef one. I actually was asking some other guys on the line. Okay, what is this? What exactly is this one? And I was they referred out of everything for me to get the beef pie. So yes, I did get the beef pie, and I had read that was kind of the staple I guess food from the concession stand. I actually sent a picture. I was kind of texting some of my American football buddies back in Texas, pictures, and I sent them a picture of the menu, and my brother said, "Oh, that's a proper concession stand." I think one of the guys asked what a confectionery is. I was like, I think it's candy. And my brother asked if they had Rico's cheese sauce to put on top of the pie, which it's a Texas cheese not that you put on nachos at high school football games in Texas. So
Right, yeah.
they were joking around. It was funny.
What the
Yeah,
goddamn is a bovril?
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah. That's no, yeah. That's basically the staple drink to have. It's effectively if coffee was a gravy. That's the best way to put it. You're
Yeah.
literally drinking gravy, right? It's
Gravy.
And what was the juice drink? Was it a Sun? Was it
Capri Sun.
a Capri Sun?
Capri Sun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
My buddy from Louisiana, which they're heavy drinkers at their football games.
Mhm.
He's like, I'm assuming the Capri Suns are spiked, and I had to
We
realize, I was
tried.
like, no, unfortunately, no. Got to do that before game.
Yeah, and that's the thing because we've due to the old firm, we had to ban alcohol. We've had alcohol banned in stadiums since the 1980s. So if
Mhm.
you're, looking to have an alcoholic drink, you're going to have to stock up before you go,
Oh
basically.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, it's Capri Suns and Bovrils until
Yeah.
4:45.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Uh,
it was great. It was great. I mean, it was like to me, it was like a pot roast,
Croissant.
a pot roast croissant, basically.
nice,
I
nice.
love
It's
that.
a good way of describing it. I think if Hearts hear about that, that's going to be their new advertising
Yeah.
slogan for it.
Oh no, it was better than the sausage, sausage crepe or something, whatever that was. The hot dog, my daughter gave high marks on the hot dog. She liked.
Oh right, yeah. It's basically a sausage roll, right? But it's like in a pastry,
Yeah,
effectively,
yeah,
isn't it?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So as far as like comparing it to American sports you go to, what's the difference in the two atmospheres? Then I feel, look, I've not been to any American games, but I'm suspecting it's a bit more volatile than most American
Oh,
sports you've been to.
absolutely. American soccer games. I'll call it just to
Mm,
differentiate. There is an effort to be, very, Euro, whether it's the songs and the drummers and the chants and having the pins and the end zones and things like that. Our local club in Indianapolis, they're kind of a second division club. They have a decent following. Cincinnati, which is about 2.5 hours away, they built a new stadium, probably about the size of Tynecastle, I would assume. And they've got a pretty good scene there as well. Um, but it just even for a well attended game in either of those venues, it is not anything like it was at Tynecastle, on Monday. And
mm,
obviously the situation plays into that a lot. It being 4 games to go down to the wire against an old firm team that we could, in theory, knock out of the race by winning the
mm,
game, which it may end up happening. But just the stakes on the line, and the crowd coming out like they did, and you could just tell that we're kind of short time followers, short time sufferers for this
Mhm.
for this program, but obviously we understand it. In comparison, I was mentioning our American football team in the town that we live in. You know, having not won a conference championship since 1967, very similar to what Hearts has been going through. And we had a magical season this year where we won conference for the first time, went on to win the national championship, which, might be akin to winning the Champions League, or if there was somehow some league where the Scottish champs would play the Premier League teams in a United Kingdom championship. It may be akin to something like that, but it was just a miracle season. Our fans were hyped up in every game, and you could see the same similarities with the Hearts fan base. Just you can tell it's been pent up, waiting for the success, and to finally be in the final stretch with them still in it and having success, coming back to win games. It was just amazing. It's amazing, and you can
Mhm.
tell that there's loyalty, there's passion, but there's also just pent up demand for success. And hopefully, whatever happens here towards the end of the season, good or bad, it leads to more consistent things in the near future.
Yeah.
And this may be the ball that just keeps things rolling to success year after year, and hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, I think this is a sign. I think this is a sign that we are going to win. You
Yeah.
guys
Yep.
got the win. We're going to get the win.
Yeah. Oh,
100%.
yeah. Yeah.
That's in my head now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's that's kind of one of the reasons we wanted to make the run is we're on a good luck run here, so hopefully we can help add to the season.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So also, just whilst we're going back to the game,
Yep.
how did Maddie react when we scored the equaliser and then the eventual winner?
You get you tell. That is so funny.
So we, obviously we're all jumping around, high-fiving, hugging, just along with everybody else. It was on the other side of where we were. But you can see the ricochet and then the one touch back in. I mean, I didn't realize until watching the replays how good of a touch that was, because that
Yeah.
ball came off the post hard, and that was a quick step rebound goal. But just complete mayhem down there for us. High-fiving everywhere. She was, tears in her eyes. She's watching the
Mhm.
crowd, jumping up, high-fiving all the kids around her. And it was just unbelievable. I think we were all kind of worried until then. We
Mhm.
were,
Yeah.
especially after that first half, not quite panic yet, because I think we came out in the second half a lot more aggressive. We're winning the 50-50s. And I don't know if Tynecastle is tilted towards the south by a couple of degrees, but the balls ended up being down on that end a lot more, which turned out to be good for us in the second half. And then obviously the momentum from there, just unbelievable excitement.
Yeah. How do you find the Hearts fans, and what's your overall sense of sort of community around the club?
Oh, it was great. I mean, we didn't quite know what to expect.
Mm.
Obviously you hear about the fandom and the passion and everything there, and reading the fan pages. I mean, there is a lot of cynicism, I guess, even from the Hearts fans that are believers but not fully 100% believers that something
Mm.
like this could actually happen. Um, and we didn't know the protocols about going to the bars around the field. We didn't know if outsiders like us were even going to be welcome, or what the routine was. Where do we sit? What can we do? But everybody, as soon as they kind of found out, who we were, and they got over the unbelievability of of the mission. I mean, I felt like they probably thought we were spies or something at first, and we brought a little girl to help cover for us. We were Rangers fans or something like that. But everybody was welcoming and talking about the team, asking about Maddie's team, and just wherever we went, everyone was really cool. Whether you're standing in line at concessions, joking about me asking what everything is, talking to the game with some teenage kids in the stands. And then, but while we're filing out and walking, back to the hotel, talking to guys about how great a game was, it was, I mean, I think everyone was on the highest plane at that point, and it was just great to be a part of it.
Do you think Maddie's connection with the club has now sort of grown deeper now she's actually been to Tynecastle?
Definitely. I think we were talking about that actually on the way home. I think it just it secured the spot. She's a huge sports fan. She wants to get into like sports marketing after college, and she's like, oh, it'd be so fun to be there and be in that kind of environment. And I think now that she's got a team that she wants to be a part of, this is what she's going to be following for for a long time.
Yeah, no, she was. It was funny. I think she was watching highlight clips on, I don't know what she watches, TikTok or Instagram, whatever she watches. On the plane ride home, and she's got her headphones on, and she'd call to me, and I'd pull out my headphones, and she'd Lawrence Shankland in her best Scottish accent with the goal. I don't know what she was watching, but she's like duplicating whatever announcer that she was hearing. So yeah, and she wore her heart sweatshirt to school today, and
Amazing.
I'm sure all of her teammates
Aw.
are going to have 100 questions for her. She goes back up to Indy for training tomorrow night. So they're all, they were all kind of like, where the hell is she going? Whenever she had to dash away from the game with 15 minutes to go. So
Also, I forgot to mention that there's a wee connection, a wee nod, I should say, to an indoor winter league that you and your
Oh,
daughter
yeah.
made. Do you want to talk us through that one?
Yeah, we so our club seasons for junior soccer here, you kind of play in the fall and the spring, and you've got about a 2 to 3 month, kind of winter break where clubs are training, and you might do some showcases and things like that in warmer weather states. But in our town, there's an indoor league, and we had a group of girls, 16 girls, basically in our local club, Bloomington Football Club, BFC. And we put together two teams, and I kind of managed it. Let our actual coach take a break and just go watch his daughter play with us. Um, we split it up to two teams. One of our teams was with BFC being on all our kits was Burnley. We were Burnley Football Club as one of our teams, and then the second team was Hearts. And we got some of the Adidas maroon colored tops, and basically had them created in a similar, as close as I could get them to a Hearts uniform. I hope I don't get sued for any infringement or anything like that. Found like a little press-on heart for the logo. And yeah, that was one of our teams, was Hearts.
That would be
And
2020.
yeah, it was like 2021, I think. It was right after COVID. So
Yeah, I
that
was
team
just looking at
ran
a photo there.
2 or 3 seasons. I still see the girls out with that jersey that we created, around town, or their little sisters wearing them now if they'd grown out of them. But yeah, it was a fun time, and it I think introduced those girls and parents to, okay, who is Hearts? Why are we called Hearts? And them investigating on their own what the team was about and where they were from and what league they played in. So yeah, it's funny. I still one of our daughter's coaches, he was from England, played, I can't remember which program he was under, but then he matriculated over here, played college soccer here in Indiana, played professionally, played mostly indoor, really good indoor player. But still follows his English league, and he had the same questions. How did you get into Scottish soccer? So that's another convert. Now, anytime we're watching a game, I'll get a text from him after a miraculous goal. I'm like, okay, now you're watching. Well, good.
One of
I
us.
think,
One
and I'd
of
have to get the
us.
name. I think there was a player that played at our club, either at FC Pride in Indianapolis, that may have eventually played for. He mentioned somebody from around Indianapolis, an American kid that may have rostered over there. I can't remember the exact
Well, we did. So
timeline. I'll have
there's,
to check with him
yeah,
again to see who it is, and I can have Tammy
we did
communicate that with him.
have an American player for a while called Perry Kitchen.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you where he
It would I
originated.
count it probably early 2000s maybe. I can't.
Yeah, he was. Nah, that's a bit later. He was 2016 actually. I mean, he wasn't.
Where was he
I'll be
from?
honest. So he originally, let's see where he's from. Oh, there we go. Born in Indianapolis,
Oh, there
Indiana.
you go. There you
There we
go.
go.
There you go.
Yeah, so he was a solid player for us. He actually eventually became captain. Now, the reason we're all pretty sure he became captain was not necessarily due to his ability, just it was more the fact that we could publicize him as Captain America. It was a PR thing, basically, right? He was here for a season. Yeah, he was a solid player for us.
There we go.
Uh,
All right. So a kid from my daughter's club has actually played for Hearts.
What a connection.
There's another connection. It was meant to be.
The stars are aligning.
Indeed, yet again. And of course, Hearts women's team are doing exceptional this year, as you may well know. So who
Yes.
knows? There might be more Indianapolis players coming over to play for Hearts in different forms and guises. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
Sure.
So just kind of rounding things off then, how do you feel that this experience, how did you feel sharing this experience as a family then?
I think it's one of those things like, some kids want to go to Disney World, and our daughter is such a sports fan that she likes these big moments. And for us to be able to be there and enjoy this with her and show her something that you just can't get here in America, I think it's valuable in so many more ways. And it was just so fun for all of us to experience it.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I mean, after watching Indiana play in the Rose Bowl this year and then playing the national championship game, I thought that was untoppable. And for us, this experience, going over there, being in that environment, meeting the people that we did, and just seeing the passion, the huge turnaround and emotion during the game, it ranks up there right with Indiana's Rose Bowl and our national championship this year. So just amazing. A T1 for me for greatest live sporting event I've ever been to. I never thought that being at an Indianapolis 500 could be superseded. But in the last year, Indiana football and Hearts football has moved the Indy 500 down the level list for me. And being able to do it with the whole family, it's great. And for her to be at an age where she understands what it's like to be in those games and understands the pain of losing and the joy of winning, and just seeing it on her face in that environment, it was. I'm just thankful for the luck that we had in being able to do that, and the environment that we were in, and all the fans, and meeting the people that we did, and meeting folks like you guys that we hopefully continue to communicate with down the line.
Absolutely, definitely. What would you say then, if there's any international Hearts fans listening to this, and we know there's a few, what would you say to them about people who are thinking about making that trip to Tynecastle?
I say do it. And then even if you're unable to get a ticket, the second best place to be, in my opinion, is in one of the pubs surrounded by all the locals, because I just feel like the passion's got to be there as well. It's just something you can't experience, from the TV.
Yeah, I mean, look, definitely. You'll have some. Oh, it's just a football game. Is it really worth the hassle? And it is, because it's more. It's more than just the winning and losing. It's meeting the fans. It's being in the environment. It's putting your emotions out there, win or lose. I mean, because if you never lost, winning wouldn't really mean anything. So being able to be in that environment where you're nervous and your stomach's grumbling and you're getting a little bit depressed if things aren't going your way, and feeling for the fans and feeling like you're part of that. Not to mention just going to the city and seeing everything there. It's not like you're venturing, to a cow town out in the middle of nowhere with nothing else to do. It's one of the coolest looking cities and downtown areas I've ever been to. So, I mean, for everybody, definitely, if that's something within your radar, don't hesitate. The fans are great, the environment's great, the city itself is great. It's easy to get to. The stadium is such a unique place. It's an old historic venue that if you can only do it once, do it once, because it's worth it.
I'm saving the biggest question to last. Are we winning the league this season?
Yes.
Go Hearts! Let's do it.
Well, our thanks again to Tammy and Matt, and of course Maddie, for joining us today. Me and Trent are going to have a look back at the Rangers game, because how can we not? First of all, then, the lineup itself, we kind of had a wee chat when it came out in our WhatsApp group chat. I guess the sort of big surprise for us was Chesnikov starting. I was a wee bit more optimistic, I think, than Adam and John in him being there, just because I thought, well, I guess he must have been training well. Adam was a bit more worried, put it that way. What's your feelings about him starting in the lineup in general?
I was a bit surprised that I don't know. I say I was surprised. I think I was surprised to see Chesney starting. When we'd all kind of thought if anyone was going to kind of come in at like a wing position, it would be Kajota.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, he seems to do more as like an impact sub, I guess. So, but look, whatever we thought of it, didn't matter in the end. We got like when we were chatting to Matt there, he was saying it's sort of like luck's on our side. I kind of started believing as well that like I think this was the first game where that belief like we're McInnes knows what he's doing. We're gonna get there by like hook or by crook. Because I was like with Adam and John before. I was looking for negatives and stuff. So like the Chesney thing, I was thinking that's an odd decision. Is that going to cost us? Blah blah blah. And now after the game, with a bit of like time, I'm starting to believe a bit more and it's like trust a bit more. We're like so close. It's still quite hard to process this. I think this like it's almost just not not wanting to get carried away with this one result, but combining that with the Hibs game, brains all scrambled. It's like we could win now.
Yeah.
Really feel
Look,
that.
there was definitely moments in that first half where I got the absolute fucking fear.
Yeah, we were terrible. I thought we were really bad.
Yeah. I mean, the first 10 minutes aside, which, we started off in the fashion we all hoped we'd start off, right? We're fast, attacking, positive. Rangers did come back. So just even leading up to that goal, wasn't just the goal itself by Sterling in the 23rd minute that changed the tide. I think the tide was changing a bit before that.
Yeah.
For me, it was just... I felt the Rangers throughout that first half just had so much space to work with.
Yeah.
I couldn't really get my head round. I know in the past that we've allowed certain players to have more time on the ball, but it wasn't just that. Yes, they're finding space, but I just felt we're losing all our individual battles as well. I don't know what was it. We just seemed to lose all that sense of urgency alongside that. I was really confused by how poor we were in that first half.
Yeah, we felt so vulnerable again, and it's like how we started off so well against the Hibs, and then one quick change quite early on in that first half, just a bit of complacency, and they were a goal up, and I was just thinking as soon as the Sterling goal went in, I'm like, fucking hell, why do we keep doing this to ourselves? Just I'll not jump into the second half yet, but the change was incredible from how poor I really thought we were in that first half. Yeah, just the sort of complacency was creeping in, and we just seemed vulnerable. And ugh,
Reminded me a wee bit, and this is a bit of a random connection, but it reminded me of the 90 minutes I spent watching the Rangers Hearts Cup final from a few years ago, where I just sat watching us and we're just letting Rangers have all the ball, and I couldn't understand what we were trying to do. And I thought, right, okay, maybe we're going to get to the 70th minute. Rangers had just played that European Cup final, and then we're going to kind of twist a knife and just try and use their exhaustion against them, kind of thing. But that just never happened, and that's kind of how I felt in this game. I know it's a bizarre connection, but I still had that confusion of what's the actual game plan here.
no,
It was,
not at all. Because the connection as well, though, I think it's the way that I always feel when we're going to play the old firm. I think it's a bit of like an inferiority complex that kind of I think a lot of us feel, but like it's almost the team we're just showing Rangers so much respect purely because they're Rangers.
Yep, totally. I think I wouldn't be surprised if McInnes's halftime team talk involved a bit of that, because you say it yourself, we looked like a totally different team coming out in that second half.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He did mention like the main focus of his halftime talk was just telling them they need to. Well, he's putting a rock up their arse basically, and needing to act more like a league-leading team and to win their battles. But the Chesnikov came off, and I do think McInnes being a bit polite by not mentioning the change. And it's fair to say Spittle
Yeah.
had quite a significant impact in that second half, don't you think?
That's the thing. Spittle was amazing. It makes me question the whole Chesnikov thing again. It's these wee little decisions that just you go, what? So I don't know. I mean, Spittle, absolute class. I think probably an absolute bollocking at halftime, but sticking Spittle on like night and day when they came out in that second half.
Yeah, Chukwane, the Rangers player, just couldn't handle Spittle whatsoever. He had a lot of joy with Chesnikov, but absolutely none with Spittle, really.
Yeah.
It's so going back, I don't want to kick Chesnikov while he's down, but if you look at all the Jamestown signings, each and every one that you can see something like I'll say Altena's not hit, not quite. I don't know. I don't want to say he's not hit the ground running, but he's obviously not had the impact say Milne has or something like that. But you can still see moments there where you think, right, he's definitely going to develop. Same with Kurjota, right? He's not had huge amount of time to show us what he's got, but in that short space of time, you can see what he adds. Chesnikov, I can't think of one performance where you think, right, I can see why we've signed him. And I think what also I find doubly confusing about him is before he was signed, I'd totally forgotten about this, but do you remember all the hype about him signing?
Yeah, the hype was probably the biggest out of all the Jamestown signings, and it was like we all bought into it as well. We're thinking, bloody hell, we've got like fucking Mo Salah coming or something, but I think out of all of them, the biggest thing for me with Chesnikov is he's looked kind of like anonymous and maybe just lacking in confidence. Like I think Altina had a really bad game against Hibs, I feel, but I think his heart was in the right place.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was crosses not connecting and stuff, selling some like passes short, but he looked like he was up for it. And I thought the difference when Spittle came on for Chesnikov, Spittle didn't give a shit it was Rangers. He was like, I'm good. I'm going to make a difference. He looked confident, but he is a seasoned, Scottish player in the league. Guys like Chesney, it must be so, and this is to not keep having to go at him, but it must be so daunting. You've come over, I think as well, when it's been completely different leagues and you've been kind of scouted by all these analytics and stuff. You're being told, oh, you've got blah 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 percentages, yada yada. It's you've got to really tie that in with like personal confidence and a whole lot of like untangible things. And
Mm.
yeah, Chesnikov didn't really show us what he had to offer, and like you say, kind of hasn't yet.
Yeah. Well, you touched on something there I also want to bring up actually. Just I know I've been looking on social media and just hearing other pundits and so forth just saying the lack of Scottish or British players in that Rangers team perhaps bed into it and just them not really appreciating what playing against in such a big game, right? What that truly means to the club. Whereas someone like Spittle, look, you might not have the level of ability as say some of those, say your Raskin or someone like that. But what he does have is just the knowledge of a Scottish game, and he gets what it's all about.
Same for Leonard when he came in. He fit in. I mean, I know
Yeah.
he didn't have the greatest few first games, but I think he slotted in really well, and he definitely had that sort of experience and sort of just familiarity to lean on.
hmm Actually, he's one of those players you could look at the first half of that game and think, "Oh shit, here we go." To the second half, and he just the
Yeah,
step up from that first half and second half. Him and Kingsley had, for me, the biggest step ups in that first and second half. Actually,
yeah, definitely. But Kingsley's got that composure about him that
Hmm.
I never really worry about Kingsley. I think he's less likely to have a bad game than someone like Leonard. Like Kingsley will keep his head, in much the same way that like your Spittles will. I think.
hmm
Um,
definitely, he's a
God, I was just
comfort
thinking.
player.
Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking about these players coming in from totally different leagues and stuff, and then I remember
Mm.
that the complete opposite of the negatives is just Claudio Braga coming in. He just came in
Yeah,
guns blazing, not giving a
he
shit.
did. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Kizaridis, actually, he's a guy who, obviously he came in guns blazing. His form's dropped off. There's no two ways
it
about it.
has,
But
it has. But
man, how close did he come to getting that? We saw he's winding back the weeks,
yeah,
with that shot of his. And Matt, look, I would have absolutely. You're saying yourself, would have fucking loved it if Kizaridis got back in the
I
score,
know.
back in the goals.
But
But
Jamie,
again, if there's
look at how happy he was with the shot, and then when
yeah,
Kingsley converted it, he was over the moon. Like he's not one of these. He won't like drop his head. He won't go in the half.
yeah.
He's I mean, tell you, you can just look at Kizuri. This he looks like
Mhm.
a confident man, doesn't he?
He
But
does.
I think he's very much in that like Braga mold. That even if he doesn't have the greatest game or a couple of bad games out, he's still a team player.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I,
attitude.
yeah, and I just hope even just I know it was just a shot and it came off the post, but just I hope that's kind of going to give him the confidence over the next few games.
Yeah,
Um, but again, Kingsley, if there's one player I really, I absolutely love Kingsley, and I think he's been such a great servant for the team. He scored a really good few important goals, not just obviously this season, but across his career.
yeah.
And couldn't be happier for him.
No, I know. He's I think at the start of the season as well, we were talking like, he may have left. He wasn't, one of our like vital guys. We had Milne coming in, definitely replaced him at left back. His pace has maybe gone a bit, but he's just kept his head, and you kind of know what you're going to get out of him.
hmm
But if we're talking about look, I thought Steinwender, he's
Yeah,
been up and down, but I thought he was absolutely outstanding as well. He's another one who's kept his head and just dug in and worked on it, and he's another one. I think he's really really impressed me with this game.
yeah. He was so. I kind of had the fear with McEntee going out.
Yeah,
I do. I'm aware of what Steinvender can offer, but just that consistency is something I've been concerned with because I think was it the Hibs game around Christmas time. He had an absolute stinker, but he seems to have really come on from there. And this is really part of what makes us a really strong team is the fact we can lose a player, but then know that we've got someone who can come in. Like, imagine if we didn't have a player like Braga when Shankland went out. Braga just really stepped up and actually became a better player, I
Yeah.
think, due to Shankland's absence. And that's just something that's really been missing from previous Hearts teams. Look, I'm not saying we didn't miss the impact of Shankland, and I think if we didn't have Shankland and Devlin injured, I honestly think we probably would have had the league wrapped up by now. But still, it's great to know we've got strength elsewhere that can come in. Also, I did particularly love Steinvender's Terry Butcher-esque head bandage at the end as well.
I know. I was wondering when I said how good a game he had. I was like, did he have as good a game as I thought, or was it the bandage on the head that
Aye,
made him
oh.
look hard as nails? But he was still right up for it, even when he had the bandage on his head.
Mhm.
Yeah, he looked tough.
Now that Tammy and Matt have gone, there's now two people left talking about the game who weren't actually at the game because both
Bloody
of us
hell, of
had to.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
by
keep
the way,
forgetting you weren't
yeah,
there.
yeah, childcare issues, but also won't be at the Motherwell game despite having a ticket for.
Oh,
Well,
where's your ticket going?
I've got a couple of people who've already potentially put dibs on it. Unless you want it, are you free
I'll have a
for it?
think. I'll have
Fine.
a think. I'll check my
You
busy business
supersede
schedule.
everyone. But yeah, I mean, if I can get childcare, obviously I'll be off skis. But
Yeah.
it's looking less likely by the day. Obviously, before we sort of wrap things up about this game, Shankland's goal. What a guy! What a
Come
guy!
the
What a
moment, come the
finish!
man. Did you think we
Exactly.
were going to win that game at that point, Jimmy?
It depends. In the first half, no. Like
No,
I
not the
just
first half. When it
yeah.
was
In the
1-1.
second half, yeah. I just felt momentum was on our side at this point. I think I'll be honest, my mind was kind of blanking a bit because I was just so. I was finding it. I don't know what it is, but I find it way more stressful watching it on TV than I do when I'm at the game. And trust me, I find it stressful as fuck most of them at
I'm
the game
very
itself.
aware.
But I find it even worse. I actually had to during the game. I've got a treadmill in my front room. I actually was my adrenaline was going so much I had to just start running. I actually had to start running on the treadmill to try and burn some of the adrenaline off. That's it's ridiculous, isn't it?
I adore that you've committed and actually bought hardware for a nervous pacing.
It is, yeah. I mean, to answer your question though, I think so. I think I was feeling positive we could go on and win it, but honestly, it was just the anxiety levels were just so high that my mind was kind of blanking. How did you? What were your thoughts about it?
I thought it was good. I was absolutely convinced in my head it was going to finish 1-1.
Oh, okay.
It was going to be, like a missed opportunity, and I'd kind of like not made my, not made my peace with it, but
Hmm.
and I think because you weren't there either, so you and I were the men in the studio,
Hmm.
and John and Adam. So usually there's some, element of us like all kind of chatting, but the boys couldn't get any reception at Tiny. So
Hmm.
not having either of those two sort of texting the group chat for the pod kind of threw me off as well. So, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, me and you are kind of cut adrift from the other. And I don't know. I didn't know. To be fair, the fucking two of them probably would have made me feel worse now that I think about it. But yeah, it did feel a bit odd that we weren't all four kind of talking at the
Hmm.
same time. But
Yeah.
my God, uh, the so my stream for it when Shanks scored, I don't know if it like jittered a little bit, but I wasn't sure it had gone in straight away. So I was
Oh,
almost like,
right. Okay.
like the angle wasn't great for it, but I sort of my it's almost like my body kind of shuddered, and then when I
Mm.
realised it was a goal, like as I think I told you, no, I did because you posted that thing in the group.
Mm.
I went so fucking mental. I scared the shit out of my two dogs, my two wee sausage dogs. My wee Archie, bless him, he jumped off the sofa and started barking to find out what the hell was going on. And the wee blind one was just sort of like terrified. And I was like, "Oh, it's okay, boys, it's okay." But um, I swear, as soon as the ball hit the net, the back of that net, that was
Mm.
genuinely the first time that I thought, "Yeah, no, that it is doable." And
Mhm.
you know, we've talked about it. We think we can do blah blah blah. I felt it then. I didn't even
Yeah.
feel like that after we came out of Easter Road. I felt super positive, but that was my first time where I would be, you know, really willing to let myself believe properly.
Yeah. There's just from this game. There's just so many little moments that the camera going across, like from Colin Chisholm starting the game,
Why?
uh, and I enjoyed when he's doing his song and said, "Some say that Celtic and Rangers,"
Celtic and
and he's
Rangers
like,
are grand.
"Ha!"
Oh!
Yeah. But there's just little moments like the camera going across the crowd. There's a guy, like an old guy greeting, holding up the scarf. There's just it captured so many stories and moments, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. And seeing Dell on the pitch singing the Heart song, like honestly, I didn't realize just how much I would love Dell when like I kind of got a brief glimpse into it when he had that 90 minutes with event
Yeah.
just before he'd even played a game, and I thought, wow, actually, I'd never realized just like how engaging a talker he is, just how positive he is about Hearts, and it is evident that Hearts is a team he's wanted to come to for years.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's just become, I mean, Jim Jeffries levels. Even if we don't see
Yeah.
this thing out, that's the level I hold him. And if we do go on to win, I think he could even supersede what Jim Jeffries, how high I hold him in regard. It's just, yeah, a guy who absolutely gets Hearts, isn't he?
Would you have Paulo Sergio in there somewhere as well?
Hmm. He's maybe like I'm trying to think who else there is.
I think it's as much the managers like really fall in love with the club and really want to be part of it.
Hmm.
Um, that yeah, I mean Deke seems to have that in spades.
Yeah. I think the only one that would, I think the other one making up my top three actually would be Critchley, obviously. But
Well,
no,
actually, when I was reading up, I was doing the same as you were about Perry Kitchen when we were talking to Matt and
mhm.
Tammy, um, and there's a very tells a lot more to us than it would to just a casual reader. But when manager Ian Cathro came in, Perry Kitchen, who'd stepped up to taking the captaincy, found his playing time limited. And then you just start thinking about all the dickhead managers that we've had that have, they're like the reverse McInneses.
And what made me like Cathro even less was like, that someone that recently asked him what he's thinking about Hearts is like, God, doesn't concern me or I couldn't care less, something along those lines. Like, oh, just when I thought, maybe I can forgive you after all these years for that painful interview you gave. No.
Nah, total dickhead. I think we all wanted to be as sort of easy on him as we could do. You know, young man, he's trying something new,
Yeah.
and then he came out with that like, what about Hearts? And he's like, who? Oh,
Yeah.
that like dickhead.
I'm going to give you a quick wee quiz then, Tran, before we look ahead to the Motherwell game. It's pretty straightforward. There's 15 players who have scored 8 or more goals. Can you name 5 of them? So there's 15 Scottish Premiership players who've scored 8 or more goals this season. Can you name them? And this, I should also mention, this is Premiership goals only.
So you're talking about the top scorers in the Prem this year?
Yep. And
Okay.
you've got 3 lives.
3 lives. Right. Well, obviously Shanks and Braga.
Yep, 2. So you've got 3
Maswinise.
more to get. Yep, 3.
I think Chermiti's got, because he had a, yeah, Chermiti will be there.
Let's see, where are you in Chermiti? Yep, you're right. He's got 12. Only need 1 more. I've made this too easy, haven't I?
Probably. Well, what about, who's the other, Longello?
Yep, well done. He's got 8. Okay, well, see if you can get up to 10 then. I've made that way too easy, so.
Well, I've got Nygren as well,
Yep, 6.
but I don't
He's the
think I
second
can.
top scorer, actually.
Oh, that's embarrassing. Is he actually?
Hmm.
Fucking hell.
So, I mean, as you've named all the top 5, I can name them all. So, Maswinisi, top scorer, Nigrin, second with 15. Then you've got Shanklin and Braga, both on 14. And Chermiti on 12.
Didn't realize he was that. Didn't realize Chermiti was that high, but I really didn't
Mm.
realize that Nygren 15. When the hell did he score them?
I know. As surprised as you are, to be fair, but.
Because yeah, Jesus, I just saw a thing. Who was it that was saying? I think, oh fucking hell, I've forgotten who it was now. Old Celtic player. I really should remember that one, but it was just on the news when I was having my dinner after work there, saying that Kelechi Iheanacho was like Celtic's best striker. They should be starting him, yada yada.
Mm.
But he's more kind of, they don't really have strikers,
Mm.
so
True.
really probably should. Right, well, I'm going to throw out Tavernier because I know he's got a few.
Yep, correct. He's got 8, so that's 7.
He's 8.
I'll give you a clue to 1. He's no longer plying his trade in Scotland.
Oh, I was going to say Sapsford at Dundee United, but that's not for the not playing in Scotland one. Because I remember he was doing
well,
well.
you're correct, though.
Oh,
So that's 8.
fucking-
You're up to 8.
And I don't know if he's scored. Where's he gone? Is it not Livorno? Shit. It's Bowie, isn't it? Where's he gone?
You're correct, yeah. Hellas Verona.
Hellas Verona. Where the hell did I pull oh well, Livorno,
Mm.
Verona. I've just confused myself there. And then
Only
I think
one
the
more
only
to
other
get.
one that would say what?
Only 1 more to get to make the 10.
I'll just throw out just at Motherwell then. I don't
Well, that's actually finally one of your lives gone. Thank fuck. He's actually on 7.
it's not Boyle, is it?
No.
Oh, thank Christ.
So that's another life gone.
Oh,
is he gonna
fucking
fall
Maida!
from- Well done. Yeah, that's your 10. So you could have also had Kevin Nisbet. He's scored 9. McGrath's
Oh my
had 8.
God.
You said Longello, didn't you? Fata for Dundee United. He's got 8. John Jules.
get 8?
Hey! He's got
Woo.
8. And of course, Barney Stewart is on 8 as well. So there we go. You did really
Oh
well
my
there.
God, thanks, man, but I should have got Nisbet. That's pretty stupid.
No, it's easy to forget these Diddy team players, to be honest. So looking ahead to the Motherwell game, how are you feeling about it?
Really good now. Like for the first, for like the first time this whole, even when we were miles in front, I'm feeling good. But I think I've said it a few times. I always worry that Motherwell it's the unpredictability factor with them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with yourself. I feel, look, Motherwell's record. We've mentioned this before. The record against top 6 is actually quite poor for them.
Yeah.
I guess there's different elements to my thinking here. Now, I mean, I'm sure every Hearts fan listening has thought about every potential outcome, all these kind of things. So if Falkirk, who are playing Hibs at 3 o'clock now, if Falkirk beat Hibs, Motherwell's goal difference is just far superior to Hibs, and that effectively secures them their position of 4th. So that would kind of take any urgency or requirement for Motherwell to, win that game.
But do you think that's going to do a whole lot? Because
I don't know.
see, that's the thing. Because I go back to all the stuff that people were saying about Hibs lying down to Celtic. Not a hint of it.
No. I
Like
mean,
it just didn't.
the difference there, though, I think, is that Hibs genuinely have and still do have something to play for. What I'm saying
Yeah,
is
I
a bit different
suppose.
because Motherwell, in theory, could have fourth position wrapped up by the time we kick off. The other side of that, though, is if Hibs win it, then Falkirk will have nothing to play for when we play them. So it's all a bit sort of twisty turny. And the only thing we can really do is focus on our own game. But of course, us jambos can't do that. We need to look at
No,
every potential angle and everything.
I'm trying to avoid doing that. It's much like Matt was saying all the way from Indianapolis. There is,
Mm,
it's in our hands. We just need to do our bit. We need to yeah. I'm not convinced by how much of a difference teams having X, Y, or Z still to play for or not to play for.
hmm
It's on us. It's on us.
Yeah.
We have to be second half against Rangers, which we can be. We need to be that. We need to cut out these slow starts.
hmm
And just fucking have it. Come on.
And it's so bizarre with Motherwell because last time we played them, it was 3-1 going on 4-1 by the end. But before that, they could have had 2 or 3 goals. They could have been 2 or 3 goals ahead of us. So
Yeah.
they really are a difficult team to second guess. However, their form has looked a bit poor over the last few games. I just think this team, prove me right, boys. I just think they've got the mentality to go out there and win this game. I just think they're going to be able to do it by hook or by crook. We owe them that belief, right? They've shown
Yeah.
enough, not just from that last game, but throughout the season. There's been poor halves of football. There's been poor 90 minutes of football at times, but they're still a team that can just salvage something, find that extra little something, and what a golden carrot at the end of this particular stick there is. So yeah, look, I do feel confident, but that doesn't mean to say I'm not shitting myself about
Yeah.
about it.
We're all shitting ourselves, but I think
Mm,
I think the players will be on a high, and just purely with the characters that we've got, we're at this stage of the season. I don't think, like for example, Lawrence Shanklin would accept anything else
mm,
from obviously Deke, but you've got I mean, like I was saying, Steinbender stepping up, Blair Spittle coming on and just being excellent.
mm.
And Braga's we live wire. Like there's enough there personality wise that should give us a wee bit of an edge when the heat's on. You know what I mean? Hopefully we're
Yeah.
not. It's not like a bottle mentality team. I don't think. I mean, I know we've lost a lot of our lead, but circumstance in there. Updates on normally we'd have John here for this, but the likes of Milne and Amy.
As far as I'm aware, it looks doubtful either of them will make the game.
I didn't
Uh,
think so.
I mean, he's kind of kept his cards fairly close to his chest in that regard, but all signs coming out of the Hearts team at the moment seems to be that,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, when I was looking at making a lineup for the game, it was always not including them. And, look, it's a concern, but we've mentioned earlier, just Leonard stepped up, Kingsley stepped up. And look, obviously, it would be great to have someone's energy like Devlin in there, and it'd be
Yeah.
great to have Milne's creativity. But this team has shown that they can do it against Rangers. A team that I mean, still is, I guess, technically competing for the league winners' medal, and they were able to put the performance together for it. So, yeah, I don't have, whilst it's obviously a blow, it's not a huge concern for me. Lineup wise, then,
Esnikov
what are
plus 10.
build your team around that man, basically, right? I guess so. The big questions really are: do you start Spittle or do you go something like a couple of possible lineups? Say,
Ooh.
I think the back four, you know what you're doing there, or I suppose if that is if you're going for a back four, but assuming you are, you've got Kingsley, Finlay, Halkett, Steinvender. That's a given, right? That there's probably not going to be too much in the way of changing there. Then midfield, you're assuming you've got Benny and Leonard again, pretty much Shewins, and then Shankland and Braga up front. So that kind of leaves questions about the wing, left midfield, right midfield, however you want to call it. Do you have a pairing of Spittle and Kizaridis, or do you go for Kizaridis and Altena? You could have Altena on the right and Kizaridis on the left. You could have Kizaridis playing on the right. I think they're the main questions about this team. Any thoughts at all?
Yeah, I just think Chesnikov out, Spittle in. However we work it, this team's shown that they can be quite adaptable. And I'm just thinking on the players I want in there. I want Blair Spittle, and like I was saying about these first halves that were looking too shaky and not going for it. I think I don't see a reason not to have Spittle coming in from the start. I'd be looking to get Kurjota and Kabori on at some point in the second half. But yeah, you've got to start Spittle, surely. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what it's about Spittle. He just seems to excel in games against teams that are typically mid-table teams like Motherwell. I know they're not mid-table at the moment, but teams of that you typically associate with that level. He always
he's
seems
just a good
to.
footballer, mate. He just
Yeah.
is, and I think he's got self-belief as well. Yeah, I mean, they tried to tee him up again for the save. It was a wicked save, was it not?
It was amazing save by Butland. Yeah,
Yeah,
credit where it's due.
that was brilliant. No, I think he's got enough about him. He's adaptable enough, and he's got some confidence. And I think it's only fair for me. I think he's proven. Although I don't think Kurjot didn't even get on in the Rangers game, which, to be fair, is probably if he was going to come on later and stuff, it wasn't necessarily that kind of game. But I
Yeah.
think more so the Motherwell game, we get him on with how I mean, Adam was talking about it a lot. He was destroying Hibs. They couldn't get bloody near him. And if we're trying to push at the end, then he's our man to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Solid wee player.
So score prediction then, and of course scorer or scorers.
I'm on a run of form. I've
Mhm.
got 2-2-1s in a row now, I believe. So my predictions. So I'm going to stick, just like in FIFA, I always shoot my penalties to the right.
Mhm.
I'm sticking with a 2-1. I'm going
Okay.
to say it'll be, I think Braga's due one. And can you guess who I would think for my second?
I'm thinking Benny Beningame.
That's really silly. It's going to be Blair Spittle, Jamie. What a stupid thing to say. Benny never scores. And I think if Maspanise is playing, he'll, because I've been using him a lot in one of my FIFA careers. So he'll come to haunt me because I just sold him to, who did I sell him to? I think I sold him to Stoke City. So he'll be out for revenge against me because that's how it works.
That is how it works, unfortunately, yeah. Okay, I mean, I was going to say 2-1 as well because
You still can.
I still can, can't I? But I
Yeah.
really want to say I want us to have a comfortable win. I don't want a stressful 90 minutes. I'm going to try and will it into existence. It's never worked before. Maybe it'll work this time. 2-0. A goal
2-0.
either half. Yeah, we're not even going to concede.
That's impressive. I still do think we've got that little, we're so close to the end now. It's that's how life works. It'll give us it wants to shit us up a little bit by giving them a goal. But I will say I feel I was close to saying 3-1. And I'm not
that was my
usually
other.
as sort of liberal with my score predictions as that. But
But
no,
yeah, again, I can't deal with any more because if they score, they'll score first. That's how it's working this season, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's So I'm just going to say 2-0 so I can dream it true.
Good man.
I can manifest it. And 2-0 it will be. And who's going to score? I think Spittle. He's had a couple of really, obviously scored against us. He's also had really a couple of close shots on target lately as well. So I do think he'll be on the score sheet alongside Lawrence Shankland. There you go. 2-0 Shanks and Spitz. I'm saying like Critchley now, aren't
This sounds like an Urban Dictionary entry or something. the old spin shank.
I don't know when we'll be recording next. I guess because you obviously a potentially huge monumental game on Wednesday if we get the win, which I hope we will do on Saturday. Will it be on the Sundays going out on the Monday? We'll figure that out later. We will be back at some point next week, whatever happens. Until then, please do follow us on our socials. You'll find us on Instagram, and that's where our Hearts on Sleeves there. And you'll also find us on X and on Blue Sky, Hearts on Sleeves podcast on there as well. And of course, if you want to email us, you're very welcome to heartsonsleevespodcast@outlook.com. Have a great week, folks. Enjoy Saturday. I hope it's not too stressful. See you then. Bye for now.
On the Hearts.